Sean, it's very cold in
I'm
here,
out of
isn't
breath.
Why are you out of breath?
I've just had to do some sprints up and down your gym to warm up.
Yes, it's, what does the heater say we're at? 8 degrees.
8 degrees.
8 degrees. The heater's been on for 2 hours.
Hello, Scotland. Thank you for having me.
For anyone wondering, this, if you're watching or if you're listening, you can imagine. Our podcast studio is kind of an annex off the warehouse section of the gym, which means that it is not particularly warm. And the heater that we have down by our feet is moderately effective until it isn't. But
it's keeping my one knee warm at least.
So it means we'll have to be concise. And concise we shall be, because we've already discovered and explored your backstory in a previous version of the podcast, which was virtual, so it's very nice to be sat here.
Absolutely.
So I think I would describe you as the world's most versatile athletic adventurer. Would you dispute that or describe yourself differently?
No, I think, yeah, it's pretty accurate because it's in my nature to try different stuff. Like, I always wonder, because cycling was my first thing, if I hadn't got run over when I cycled around the world, and let's say I had broken the record, it would have been tough because Mike Hall, was a phenomenal athlete. So I probably wouldn't have beat him. My route was harder. But let's say I had broken that record. Would I have stuck to cycling, and would it have given me as much fulfillment? And I genuinely think the answer is no. I think it's in my nature to try different stuff. I've talked about it in the past. I'm a monkey terrier. So there's part of me is a monkey, which is inquisitive, likes to break things, fix things, do stuff with my hands. My sort of brain-hand coordination is really good. So like building stuff, I'm really good at. But I'm also a terrier, and the terrier just needs to chase things. Like one job, just chase something. And I think I would have got very frustrated had I been pigeonholed as a cyclist 2012. So 13 years ago. And I'm sort of, in a weird way, getting run over in America, coming home to nothing, not having broken the record, having disappointed sponsors, blah, 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 blah. It sort of made me think, oh, well, maybe there's something else out there. And then that's when I swam the length of Britain. And then because I'd cycled it and swum it, I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll try running. So I enjoyed all three separately. And then there's the fourth discipline, which is triathlon. So it's given me a lot of life sort of fulfillment bouncing between all four of them, if you know what I mean.
But not just as a sporting discipline, as a method of exploration and being immersed in different parts of the world. Parts of the world that a lot of people would never experience full stop, but to experience them on two wheels or in water or on your feet is a really amazing way to do it.
Yeah, well, in the world of sort of adventure, let's call it, you've got exploration on one end, which is a lot of more travel-based, less athleticness or sport. And on the other end, you've got ultra-endurance athletes. I've hovered probably in the middle to the athletic side of adventure. Mm-hmm. And then, but actually over time, I've gone more towards the full, like doing the 105. Yeah. Like that's full sport. There's no adventure there.
Not much of it. Mold Leisure Centre, 105 days in a row isn't very explorative. Yeah.
No, and again, that's the terrier in me. So the monkey likes the exploration and the self-supported stuff. But then the more I traveled, the more the sort of the terrier was like, nah, I just need something harder to chase.
Okay.
And the only way for me to do that was not to go to further parts of the world. It was more to just do something harder.
So you've used a specific word beginning with F, which neatly summarizes how you've approached things over the years. So, correct me if I'm wrong, it's fastest, furthest,
first, and most.
And then most, or frequent brackets.
The most frequentest.
Yes, the frequentest, yes. So the furthest, the fastest, and the first. So that's kind of been a big core DNA for everything you've approached over the years. But quick whistle stop tour for those that might not have listened to the previous episode. Obviously, if you haven't, go and do that. Cheers. Very quickly, item by item, what have been the most formative events that have led you to this point? I think the biggest event that you've done most recently, whilst it obviously wasn't that recently, quite a long recovery period, I'd say, was 105 full distance Ironman triathlons or full distance triathlons, Ironman distance triathlons in 105 days. based out of the Mold Leisure Centre, hence our,
Yeah.
our cynicism on adventure earlier. And that was the accumulation of years and years of experience, exploration, trial, error, failure, success.
Yeah.
So Whistle Stop Tour, where did it all begin and how did we get to 105 Ironmans, 105 days?
So I used to be a school portrait photographer, doing school photos, did that till I was 30, hated it, had this dream of being a National Geographic photographer, traveling the world. Thought, well, let's try and break a record that involves travel because I'd get a sponsor. That was literally my thinking because I had no money myself. So I thought, right, well, let me try and break a record. So tried to do this around the world cycle. That's where I got run over. Then swam the length of Britain as my next thing because I actually spent 6 months on the dole trying to get work after I cycled around the world. So I lived with my mum in a council flat in Cheltenham. Tried to look for work. I was like, I've had my little floozy around the world. Sean, get a real job, mate. And I did. Like, I listened to everyone telling me that. It's not like I was, stubborn and going, no, I'm going to follow my dreams. So I was like, okay, you tried. It didn't work. Let's get a real job. And that, I literally got nothing. Like, I went to the job centre every 2 weeks, got my 65 quid a week, applied for loads of jobs in cycling, bike shops, all that sort of stuff. And got nothing. So I just need to do another adventure.
The logic says,
got me out of the house last time. And that's when I thought of swimming the length of Britain. That one changed my life overnight.
And that was the first.
That was the world's first, 2013, so a while back now. But because really, like, no one had done big epic swims in the sea before then. So really everyone was just like, it can't be done. Yeah. Like it's just like no one really understood it. Like, and even when I put things out on forums, like I hammered the open water swimming forums online and the sailing forums, and just both sides, the sailing crowd were going like, you can't sail it in a season, and then the open water swimming crowd were like, what, you need 20 years experience swimming. So there was just this overwhelming, but then like, I just don't think anyone had bothered looking into it.
Yep.
Like, because it was like, I'm not a good swimmer, so obviously it's not a physically difficult challenge. The logistics are hard, but it's doable. It's not like there's a counter current. Like if you want to swim the Atlantic, that's, I'm not going to say impossible, but very difficult from a logistics point of view, because when you sleep on the boat, you're going to drift 30 miles and you've got to get back to your spot the next day. So you might need too much fuel that the boat can carry, right? There was none of that swimming Britain. So I was like, I just don't think anyone bothered looking. So I was the guy that just bothered looking. And that's the monkey. Like, he's inquisitive. Like, right, let's try and work this out, right? And then once the monkey realized this is possible, then the terrier woke up and said, monkey, you back in your cage. My turn. And, but yeah, that literally changed my life overnight. Like the next day it was TV deals, book deals, blah, 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 blah. And I rode that way for a while. And I did a few other fun stuff, like running the length of Britain to complete the first ever Le Jog triathlon. Yep. Which I still have that. Like that's the one that actually baffles me. Like, because the female record's up for grabs. No one's done it. No one else has ever done a swim, bike, run, Land's End, John O'Groats. Still now.
Okay. Wow.
It's been, when did I finish that? 2015. Yeah, 10 years now.
So the female record, as in it's not been done
at all by female. No, never been done.
No male has done it since.
No male has done it. So only two other people have done the swim.
The monkey brain in me is going tick, tick, tick. That'd be a good video.
Well, only two other people have done the swim. So Ross Edgley and then Jasmine Harrison.
Yes.
So Jasmine could. And I'm like, Jasmine,
just do it.
You've done the hard one.
You've done the hard bit, yeah.
But yeah, so that was the world's first. Then I went on to, and again, I guess I'm the first to have done a length of Britain triathlon. Then I did a world's longest triathlon around the coast of Britain, 4,200 mile continuous. Then fastest cycle across Europe, unsupported, still have that record because half of it is Ukraine and Russia. So I'll have that one for a while.
Yeah.
And then the most number of Ironmans. So yeah. I know you said quickly, but
in terms of unpacking those things, it could have been a lot.
Well, it's
longer.
been a lot. It's been it's 2011 is when I started this all. So yeah, it's been 14 years.
And I think the appetite for these things has shifted massively. I think I don't want to use the P word, but post-pandemic, I think a lot of people have woken up to the value in adventure, exploration, and the sense of environment and of themselves, which means that people's monkey brain, so to speak, has been triggered in a way that makes them go, "Oh, what if? Could this happen? Why has nobody done this?" Whereas I think in 2011 with the swim, I can only imagine the comments in those open water swimming forums because people apply if when you say, to use an example, if you were to run the jog for the first time back in the day, people would apply marathon training logic or 100-mile training logic to the jog and extrapolate it out going, well, no, this doesn't make any sense. When in reality, it's a very different beast. There's logistical demand, there's all these things that go into it. And from a training point of view, you just need to be able to get to a level where you don't break.
Yeah.
And then
it's a robustness program.
Which isn't measured in the data that you typically apply to a 5K open water swim or a 10K open water swim, or even the channel for things like that. So I think it's very exciting how much endeavors like yours have opened up people's eyes to what they can do by just developing their robustness and actually putting themselves in the bin for an extended period of time.
Totally, man. Yeah. I mean, I launched, so in the pandemic, I launched this thing called the 496 Challenge, where you run the day of the month in kilometers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 31. And when I launched it, it was launched in 2020. So it was 2021, the first year that they did it, I think. It was big-ish back then, but like I think the reel or whatever, the video I did about it had 100,000 views back then. And I was like, okay, well that's pretty cool. Like, and a whole bunch of people did it. I've just launched it now because most people do it in January. This year it's had like 400,000 views.
Oh, fantastic!
Or 500,000, and I've had like this, nearly 3,000 in the Strava club now, because people, as you say, they have this new appetite to try and push themselves in slightly different ways than just running a marathon or just doing an ultra.
I think people see the value in, and this is what's always driven me and why it frustrates me so much when people get too egotistical about times measurements that aren't their own, because self-supported self-exploration, self-development, getting up and doing 31 kilometers or 31 miles on day 31 is tough. There's no one giving you a medal at the end of it. There's no one that's going to be there with fireworks at the end. And I think that sort of, this is up to me to develop my own discipline side of things, is what people have discovered they can actually do, which is really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
And that's where that the 496 challenge is fantastic.
Yeah, I love it, because I'm really interested in the psychology of people doing stuff only if it's a thing. So for example, running a marathon, going out and running 26.2 miles is possibly the most free and accessible thing anyone on the planet can do, right? Yet 99.9% will only do it if they pay to do it with 100,000 other people. And I do find that, because I've only ever done, I don't know how many marathons I've done in my time. It's in the hundreds, right? Yeah. But I've only ever done one official one.
Only one?
Only one, London. And I did it as a scout badge, massive scout badge that I had to carry the whole way around. So I'm on the opposite. I'm sort of in that opposite group. And it's always fascinated me, like why people will only do something that is free, like it's genuinely. And even there's some of it in the 496, when I message people, they're suddenly like going, oh, I'd love to do this. What's the entry fee and where do I pay? I'm like, no, you don't, mate. It's just to go and do it. Yeah. If you want to join the Strava club, do that. That's fun, But yeah, it's my next. One of my next things when I'm much older, like when I'm fully retired, I'm going to go into the psychology of why people only do stuff.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating because it does. It doesn't really compute to me why. Well, I do get why, from a competitive and a measurement and a formality point of view, why people place so much emphasis on their A races in Berlin or London or Chicago, whatever it might be, or I don't know, Kona, things like that. When in reality, you can extract 95% of the value of the experience by doing it. I mean, in terms of ultras, have I actually ever done a paid-for ultra? I don't think I've ever done an ultra event, and I've ran over 50 kilometers over 50 times.
Yeah.
No, I've never. If you search me on ultra events, the ultra directory, I don't think my name would appear.
Yeah, me too. Although actually, I lie. I have done one. I think I did a 50k. Have I done? Yeah. Peak Skyline. Yeah.
The brutal 84.4k was in a triathlon, so that wouldn't appear.
So that is my only triathlon I've ever done.
Formally, is it?
Formally, yeah, the brutal, the double. I am doing Ironman Wales this year.
Oh, we're in good company here. We should. I feel like we should have a third person on the other side of the coin. We can't really have much to debate here because we're very much on the same side.
Yeah, totally.
But it's the psychology of it's very interesting. I think ultimately that's where the athletic adventure spark within me was triggered by knowing about what you did back in the day, and that's where I found so much. self-development. I won't even say athletic development. Self-development. It goes way, way beyond that. I think that's what's really cool, because people are exploring, even in the UK, like the environment that we have here, Scotland, Wales, Lake District, all these things that are really quite close by. People are interacting with them in totally new ways. That's pushing themselves and giving them new lessons, which I think is the best thing to come out of all of this. So we were talking beforehand about all of the experience, resilience, and I guess character that all these things have given you as a person. If you could extract one lesson from all of the most challenging things that you've done, would there be one, or is it all too blurred together?
Yeah,
to even extract
it's
anything?
hard to. And people have asked, like, "Oh, what's the one thing that you learned from all of this?" I think there's definitely more than one. I think if I had to choose one, I would say, firstly, you've chosen a hard thing. So I think that's the first thing, is everyone needs to choose something hard to do that's physically difficult for them.
Yep.
So let's say that's been done already. Now you've chosen the hard thing for you. The one thing when I look back that makes me feel like that was worth doing is whether I've successfully, which I haven't always, managed to ask myself these two questions whenever I'm doing it. What would this look like if it was more of an adventure? And what would this look like if it was more fun? Now, I'm not saying stop doing it. Like, you're running 100 miles. What would this look like if it was more fun? Stop running. Like, that's not happening.
Home.
Yeah, go home. But like, it forces you by asking those. So, let's say you've signed up to run 100 miles, or you want to do a 100-miler. Now you ask yourself, right, what would I need to do to make this more of an adventure? And that could be like, well, let's do one in a different country.
Yep.
Let's do one where I've never been before. So that's adding adventure to it. And the second one was, what would I need to do to make it more fun? Because you will genuinely perform better. Like, if you are happier, more smiley, what would this look like? Make it more fun. And it could be something stupid like, right, well, I'm going to have a bag of Haribos, and every mile I'm going to have one Haribo. Like, it's just a bit of daftness, right? So when I cycled across Europe, I asked myself, well, what would this look like if it was more of an adventure? But I actually had asked myself that. I was like, right, I want to break a cycling world record. Now, there's tons I could do. I could do one in Britain again, but I was like, right, actually, I want to do one that's quite adventurous across Europe. That's 2,000 miles of the whole of Ukraine and 1,200 miles into Russia. So the halfway point was the Ukrainian border. I'm like, well, that's adventurous. Right,
it is,
tick.
yes.
Okay, tick. I've done that one. And then I actually forgot about the fun thing. And on the first couple of days, I was just miserable. I was like, I'm getting 4 hours sleep. I'm on busy roads with trucks in Spain and Portugal. And then I was like, I've forgotten the fun again. Like, what would this look like if it was fun? I was like, I need to find a mascot. Like, it was just something stupid. So like, I'm going to find a mascot. I don't know what it is. And then like, literally a few hours later, there was a dead dog carcass, bleached white over years and years of being bleached, in the grass. And I felt sorry. I was like, wow, that's it. I'm going to grab this dog skull, strap it to the front of my handlebars. And now it's just silly. Now it's a silly, stupid little thing. And I'm going to have conversations with Pedro, I called him. And I'm going to take a dead animal across international borders and see what happens. And weirdly, by just doing that one random thing of like, I'm not taking this too seriously, I'm trying to find the lighthearted funness in it, my performance went up. You can actually physically see my performance. Like, I mean, performance going up for me is only doing 5 miles more a day, but like on those records, that's quite big.
Yeah, adds up. Yeah.
Because I actually only broke that record by 20 minutes a day.
Wow.
So I just clawed back 20 minutes a day on the record, which you can lose. Traffic lights. If you're doing like through urban city, you easily lose 20 minutes of traffic lights. So yeah. Find the fun. What would it look like if this was more fun? And what would this look like if it was more adventurous?
And can you successfully apply that to a family setting, a business setting, a day-to-day setting as
100%.
well?
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially in business, I think it's even more important for those two things. Which is why, like, Google and Facebook have bloody fireman's poles to get from one level to the other level, right? It's because, and even in your office here, you've got some games to play. I've seen around, like the shooting the hoops, and you've taken a serious business, Omnia, you're really making an impact on people, helping them perform better and all that. And in the work environment, trying to get those clients and trying to deliver them all their programs it can be monotonous, and you're sitting on your computer and on Training Peaks and whatever. But you've now gone as a team working and as an office space, we're going to find the fun a little bit. Like, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And the companies where they have the least turnover of staff do that quite well. They suddenly go, like Joe Wicks, for example, quite a good example. He pays people 5 days a week, but they only work 4 days a week, pays them full wage. And you have to, I think you have to go for a run on your lunch break for an hour. I don't know if you have to run because you could be injured, it could be cold, but you have to take an hour lunch break. And like, apparently he demands you take an hour lunch break. And I think they all do it together. Like, rings a bell, like, everyone leave your desk, get out. And I think that's a cool thing. I think people, again, adding the adventure to it and adding the fun to it without detracting from the goal. Because as I said, if you're running, because often finding the fun is taking your foot off the gas, you don't want to do that. But there's ways to include it, I think.
I actually would wholeheartedly agree. And I think that's the thing that whenever I've tried to distill down what I've learned from stupidity over the years, it's always, and this is the thing, going back to the performance side of things, is the 500-pound squat and sub 5-minute mile on the same day, the 1,200-pound powerlifting total same day as a sub 12-hour Ironman. There's people on the internet just like, I don't get this at all. I'm like, I don't need you to get it. I'm just having fun because I like lifting weights and I like doing a triathlon. But what's the point?
Yeah.
Did you not hear what I just said?
There is no point. It's not meant to be a point.
I had fun doing it, and that is the whole point for me. And I think that's where I feel very, very fortunate that I've been able to hold on to that. And actually, that's what I am feeling most connected to with the project that I've got coming up, which is 10 Ironman distance triathlons in 10 days in 10 cities. And when I first came up with the idea, I hadn't thought of it in the sort of framework you've just described, but I thought about doing it in one place. I thought about doing it just in London because, there's be a way to structure it, and that's the most easy logistical way of doing it. But then I thought, well, that's it's not a hard country, hard nation to get around. Yeah. Getting on and off Ireland isn't great and does apply a bit of time pressure, but that adds some excitement, that adds some adventure.
Added the adventure, yeah.
That means that I get to interact with people that sound like they're from Croydon and people that sound like they're from Northern Ireland, all within not a very far distance, which is one of the best things about the UK. So being able to interact with all those different dialects, different cultures, different views on things, and interacting with different triathlon communities in each city, I thought, you know what, that will make this a lot more fun for me and thus make the project a lot more impactful. And it was something that I subconsciously thought, it wasn't just from how to make the project more successful in theory point of view, but also how do I make my interaction with it better? Because if I can enjoy as much of it as possible, then I will be better. It's the moments when I'm going to be in the bin, as I'm sure you've experienced, where you think, you know what, this might be too much for me. I might just slow down a little bit and miss that ferry because then I've got a nice little excuse or something like that, whatever it might be. So I think extracting even just little things, humor, teamwork, aid stations, all these things that go along the way. Embrace them.
Yeah, with a caveat of without jeopardizing the end goal. So
correct.
Because I nearly did that for Iron 105. I was going to do 20 in Scotland, 20 in Northern Ireland, 20 in Ireland, 20 in Wales, the last 20 whatever, in 21 it would have been 22. In London, I had the locations, everything. Yeah, I'd done it all. Like I'd found, so Scotland would have been a sea swim.
Where was that going to be?
At Fort William.
Okay.
And then cycle north of Fort William, doing big out and back.
Yep.
Which wasn't too hilly, but wasn't too bad. Then Northern Ireland, can't remember, but yeah, somewhere there. Same with Ireland, I can't remember the exact location. Wales was going to be in and around like Snowdonia, probably a sea swim, but not going up into the hills, staying along the coastal path. And then England was going to be down Dorney Lake in London, and finishing there because I thought again it'd be big population and that sort of thing. But then when I really looked at it, that was going to massively jeopardize the success or failure, especially with sea swims.
Massively,
So, and that was just it became pretty clear quite early on, and also the commute because I would have getting from Ireland to Wales, again, if I'd missed the ferry, if there was bad weather, no ferries, that's it, game over. Like, it's not an averaging record. So
I know it's only game over because of the fact you decided to take that risk. That's
totally.
The thing, yeah. So no, it's a very good way of looking at it. I think it's but again, it comes down to understanding why you're doing the thing in the first place. What is the objective? Is the objective an arbitrary time goal? If it is arbitrary, then what is actually the thing that's going to please you most? And how can you enjoy the process of getting from A to B as much as possible? And that's something I'm trying to keep front of mind with training for what I've got coming up and the process itself, because at the end of the day, 10 days will probably fly by upon reflection. I think on day 2 I'll be going, fuck, this is going on forever. But what a fantastic experience to be able to put together, to be able to interact with people in 10 different cities in 10 different days, in pools, on the bike, on my feet. That's what I am most excited about, and that's what's getting me out of bed onto the turbo, as much as I loathe doing that in this temperature at the moment. So it's it is fascinating. I think the beauty of the way that you live your life now is very much revolved around freedom, fun with family, but by doing all the things that you enjoy doing, which is engaging with corporates, engaging with people on social media, your own training, and sort of letting the monkey sit dormant for a bit. So would it be fair to say Terrier is always on, forward momentum is important?
No, other way around. No, for me, other way around. Yeah.
So the curiosity.
So actually, I'm monkey mode now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, no, because I'm launching the Ironman coaching, so the Terrier comes out for that, definitely. So actually, I'm probably in Terrier mode now, but not for big challenges yet. It's going to come. I can feel that it's stirring. The Terrier might want to do something big soon, but normally, no. Actually, in between stuff, I'm a monkey. Like they break me. Most of the stuff I do like totally breaks me.
Yep.
Recovery's long, motivation's down because of recovery. Like my mind motivation's there, but every time I try it, it's just like, this is wasting your time. Just relax, recover.
Do you think there's a risk of climbing the ladder to the highest rung and then sort of reaching up for one that isn't there anymore?
No, because I'm very good at changing mountains. Yeah. I've got to the top of the multiple Ironman mountain. Like I could do more.
Not a very populated one.
Yeah, exactly. There's only like 3 of us there. Would I do more? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Technically, actually, I'm not at the top of that mountain.
True. That's right.
I'm actually just the second highest on that mountain. I was first highest, and then Jonas Deichmann took that record. So that mountain still could be climbed higher. But there's other mountains. There's like I've actually never run more than 105k in one go without a sleep. Yeah, I've run longer, but I've had a sleep.
Yeah.
If you include
like single stage
stuff, I've never done.
You were going to do the tunnel, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So that's exciting.
Again, 0 to 100. I've never done an ultra. Let's do one in complete darkness in a tunnel.
Well, that's the only reason that excited me. Because that answers the 2 questions. Like, what would running 200k look like if it was more adventurous in a tunnel? How would it be more fun? Well, that would be me on the day trying to think of ways of making it more fun.
That's like diving into your own head.
Put a Haribo at each end and or something. I don't know. Fun. Yeah. I did a half marathon in that tunnel a month ago.
Where is it?
Bath.
Bath.
Yeah. I had a talk in Bath. So I woke up the next morning and I was like, well, actually, I got 2 hours to kill. So, and my hotel was randomly like half a mile from the tunnel. So I was like, I'm going to go do that.
Better or worse than a treadmill?
Good question. So way better, because if you said go and run a half marathon in that tunnel or on a treadmill, I'd do the tunnel every day of the week. But the reason it was a good question is because actually it was quite similar with the lack of stimuli.
Yeah.
Because it's dark. It's not completely dark. There are lights running down it, which I was actually disappointed about, if I'm honest. I was like, I wish, like when I first heard of the tunnel, I was like, right, it's going to be pitch dark. And in my head, they've draped curtains over the other end, both ends. So it's like genuinely pitch dark.
Just complete sensory deprivation.
But no, it's there's lights going down. Although in the actual race, they turn the lights off at like 11 or something.
So 105k is furthest you ran, 100 miler, nice milestone to aim for.
Yeah, exactly. So that for example, excites me. Like
it does.
a different
That's
mountain
going to be my
for me.
question.
Yeah,
that does excite you because essentially 100 mile versus 105 Ironman distance triathlons in 105 days is a very different demand, but it's very reassuring and exciting to hear that it does still excite you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because that is a challenge for me because I'm slow. You know, I'm that classic multi-day. Like I've only ever done multi-day stuff. Like the shortest thing I've ever done was run across Iceland. That was 9 days. Like genuinely, other than training, I've done very few things less than 9 days. And then the next one up from that was 20 something days. So actually, no, I did my national parks marathon. So that was 14 days. But yeah, so I'm the classic diesel engine. I've never done strides. I've never done sprint sessions, hills. Like my pace is slow. So for me to do a 100 miler in the 24 hours, it's a new skill set, and that excites me.
Backyard ultra could be a very interesting competitive direction.
Yeah, I've thought of that. Injury, I think, would be my big limiting factor on that.
Has that always been the case, or is that something that's more
since
recent?
Iron 105? Yeah. Before Iron 105, I think I would have gone into it thinking, okay, cool. I'm not fast enough, but again, I could train for it. But it's a new skill set because you got to be quick enough to get the sleep.
Yeah.
So the sleep deprivation I'd be pretty good at, although since 105, that has been a lingering knock-on effect that I just can't hack sleep deprivation as much as I could before.
Interesting.
From a physical point of view, like if I don't sleep well, it just tanks me now. Yeah, the central nervous system and stuff. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I need to look into it. But yeah, just injury would be my one. Even now, we're going for a run now. I have to take my knees up, my right knee, every time now, pretty much. I've not got the patella straps, but basically on 105 on day 1 or 2, I picked up a knee injury. And
I can imagine that was reassuring mentally.
It was, oh man. If you look at my times, I nearly timed out on day 2. 16 hours, 55 minutes because I couldn't run because of knee injury. And I've never fully recovered from that because I did another 104 on an injured knee, basically. Yeah. Fully swollen. Couldn't do a quad stretch on that for all 105 days because I literally couldn't bend my foot.
Do you know what the injury was? Or
it was just like a tendonitis, knee tracking thing, and then it was inflamed and the swelling never went down.
Downstream of that, moving inefficiently can add up
and
elsewhere.
And then hips, back, low. It's all down my right. So yeah.
It is a very good way to test inefficiencies in the body, doing 105 hour distance triathlons.
Yeah, I know. And the worst thing is that even if you were efficient, you would pick something up.
Yep.
Like it's impossible. I'm going to say it's impossible. It's very. The only reason I can say it might be impossible is because Jonas Deichmann, when he went for my record, he had just run and cycled across America.
Yep.
So he cycled one way, ran back. Then he spent like 3 or 4 months in Portugal doing 4 half Ironmans a week because I interviewed him I did a podcast with him, and he did 50 hours a week training.
Wow.
So he was doing 4 half irons a week and he did 50 hours a week training, which is probably double what I did. Like genuinely is probably double. There's no way I could have got away with doing 50 hours a week with family and commitments. Like it just would have been impossible for me to justify it.
Yeah.
Because also I don't think it's needed, to be fair. I think a lot of those sessions he did was just because he loves it.
Yep.
I don't think they were really massively improving his performance all that much. But he got injured at various points. Like my injuries came at the beginning, and then I was fine in the middle, and then I got a couple at the end, like plantar fasciitis and is it the longus on the inside and SI joint stuff towards the end. But he sort of had a few at the beginning, and then on day 15 or 20 he had another different one, and then his was sporadic. But yeah, it's an injury avoidance game pretty much, which is almost what anything with running involved is. Basically that.
Yeah, that's where
like anyone can run 100 miles, but you'll get injured. Like that's the limiting factor. It's not your fitness, it's not your cardio, it's whether you're going to get injured.
And can you go for a walk with your dogs the following weekend?
Yeah, totally.
or are you still in bed? Is kind of the question. It's running. The thing that has beaten me up the most in the past decade, above and beyond, is hard effort running on concrete. At my body weight, that has been the thing that has tipped me over the edge in terms of maximum recoverable volume. And whether it was the volume of the intensity or the actual intensity itself, it's been the thing that's hurt me, whether it's been calves, whether it's been hips, whatever it's been, that's always been the thing that's irritated me. Whereas other than that, diesel wise, just going and going and going, I've never really had much issue in training. Obviously, when you show up to cover a stupid distance, things are going to start to fall apart. But it's
So are you a little bit like me then? Because people say, "Oh, is it all mind or body?" I find my mind is always up for it. Like my mind is like, let's go. But it's my body that lets me down.
as long as my reason why for doing the project in the first place is robust, and I think the 250k, the business was just too busy for me to really stay connected to that reason why throughout my prep, which meant that I turned up to the start line not that up for it, because I didn't feel like I'd given it my all, even though I had given it my all within the circumstances, but I hadn't given it all. The way that I'd planned to approach it hadn't been executed in the way that I'd hoped, because circumstances had changed and I hadn't adjusted. I hadn't been able to adjust as quickly as I would have liked if I was to do it again this time. So that's the only time that I hit a wall a few times where I thought, you know what, fuck this. I just, my body's falling apart and now my head's falling apart as well. Whereas generally speaking, I can always decompress myself and get my head back online. And I mean, physically, I've never, the only thing that I've out and out missed the mark on has been when it's been a speed measurement. But it's never my head that's given up on that. It's just been the ability isn't there. Like I think that's the thing that training for a best effort mile has given me, and powerlifting is RPE 10, bury yourself beyond belief. I have experienced many times what that's like, which means that if I'm not there, I know there's more in the tank, and it's just a game of, are you willing to keep going or not?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. Yeah, I almost never struggle with my head. Yeah, because
is there a moment that's you've really wrestled? 105. Was there a specific day that sticks with you?
So if you've read the book, you'll know that there's a character, or not a character, a person who accused me of cheating in Iron 105. Very well known. Everyone listening to you has probably heard of them. They're in the world of Ironman. They're not British, because I don't want to throw any British athletes under the bus. That surprised me, because that got to me. So it was like day 30 or something, because they never gave a reason, and they have mega big following on the internet. To the point, and that's the thing that got me. That's the thing that when they were like, when this such big, important figure says you're cheating and everyone thinks you're cheating, but wouldn't give a reason, suddenly I was like, oh, well, if he went public, there's enough people who would believe him, even though there was zero evidence.
It's just a hassle as well, isn't it? Even if it's not true, it's just a hassle.
And then I thought, well, what played on my mind is this whole idea of like, well, what's the point of carrying on if on day 99, he puts a lie out to the public and then everyone thinks it was all a waste. And then I don't raise the money for charity. And even though I break the record, there's this like, shadow over it. And I wish I'd listened to my crew, because they were literally going, I'd mention his name every now and then. I wonder what, I call him Jesse. I wonder what Jesse said today on Instagram. So basically they took Instagram off my phone and they were like, you're not, just ignore him. Like,
yeah, wise.
And I'm like, I don't know why I let that get to me so much when he had zero evidence. Like he was just trying to like rattle me. And I think there was a jealousy thing there as well. So yeah, I think that's the only time that I've really had my head messed with.
And again, that comes from an external factor, not a...
Yeah, it wasn't to do with me, yeah. And it was a fatigue-based thing, because even now I'm looking back and I'm like, man, you wasted so much of your energy, like every day, and because I was so fatigued, your brain's not working. So, I'm starting to like question any new people coming to join me. I'm like, ooh, are they here to sabotage? And it wasn't just me thinking that. Like my crew started to think it, and all the regulars that came and cycled with me and ran with me, they started to sort of go like, "Ooh, who's this new guy? Has Jesse sent him?
Is it Jono? I've got that green streak, Jono, fucking Jono, in my head,
and then it just made me like, just not that it was an enjoyable project, but I think
I mean, the cynic is there. That's probably entirely the intention. Exactly what was intended with those. Yeah,
100%. Yeah. And I wish I'd just been strong enough to go like, up yours, mate. Like, come join me. And actually we did. So we messaged him and said, okay, you've made a pretty bold accusation here. We will pay for your flight. We will pay for your flight and your accommodation. We'll get you a bike. Come and join. Come see. Come on. You're more than welcome, and we'll pay for it. And there's obviously some bollocks reply like, no, I don't want, I'm too busy, or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting that again, it's a smaller scale, but the similar thing for me with 250, which is biggest single stage thing I've done, is it was external factors that warped my energy with it, not the actual thing itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's where pushing yourself relative to your circumstances is a skill that takes time, because essentially you can aspire to do your first Ironman. But if you've got 4 kids, you run a business that's hiring people, and you've got lots of international travel, you don't have access to pools, you don't have access to stationary bikes, it might just be optimism. And that's not a bad thing. That's just circumstantial. Essentially, it means it might be something to shelf for the time being, maybe do 70.3, maybe focus on running, whatever it might be. And I think in the age of social media now, everybody is aware of what is out there for them to pursue, but there are always going to be external factors that get in the way.
Yeah.
Once we get to the scale of the 105, those external factors are compounded by fatigue and whatnot. But I think if we were to extract a general lesson there, it's that I think the inflation on performance, distance, and ambition has kind of accelerated quite a lot in the past couple of years. But I think people should assess what is pushing themselves within their own circumstances, and then build that slowly but surely year on year, rather than thinking, you know what, I've just done my first half marathon, I work at Goldman Sachs, let's train for 100 miler. Like, well, hang on, maybe climb the ladder a little bit so you can understand how you interact with these circumstances, as an example. But I want to talk about the 105 because I'm basically just going to leech off your experience so that my own can be simpler. Because again, I'm covering a lot less, but the logistical element and the lack of recovery will compound quicker. Exactly as you described.
And my first 10 were the worst. So you're getting the worst of it anyway.
maybe I should just keep going.
Carry on.
Yeah,
you should do like 30 here before and then do the 10. Then you've done that.
If I can survive that, that'd be a good confidence builder, wouldn't it? That'd be a very good confidence builder. So for those that don't know, it was, when did you start? April 2023.
Yeah.
And finished 105
July,
days later.
Something.
So
End of July.
Yeah. And that was 105 iron distance triathlons in 105 days.
Yeah.
Out of Mould Leisure Centre, local. Was it 2 loops, the course?
So the bike was 3 loops, but it was a figure of 8. So I came back to a middle spot.
Did you change
6
a bike
times.
course?
I had to a few times.
Okay, yeah.
One because of roadworks. They just closed a few roads. One, as soon as more people started coming, a couple of the dodgy back lanes with tractors became a little bit more sketchy. So I had people's safety to think about. So that was, those are the main. And then there was one section where there was a cobbled bit. I was like, what am I doing? Paris-Roubaix? It's like, come on, Sean. So I did tweak the bike course a couple of times, but then landed up with this sort of like 3 loops, which was in a figure of 8. So I'd do the come back and and then back up to the run. The run was two laps, but
so it was the same thing every day,
which it needed to be
for
actually.
Days.
I was worried. I was inquisitive. I was curious to know whether I would enjoy the repetitiveness of doing the same course, or I'd find it a chore and like just hate it. And actually after day 20 or whatever, it was amazing because I knew exactly how fast to take each corner. I knew exactly where every pothole was, and there was like, I think I counted, it was 270 potholes on the course. I knew exactly where everyone was. I gave each one a name. So by turning off that part of my brain, I could focus on all the other pillars of endurance. So like nutrition, hydration, sleep recovery, all that stuff, community, health, XYZ, right? So when you mentioned the dates there, that was an interesting feeling I was struggling with, because when I started, when you said, Sean, you're going to be doing this 105 days, that didn't scare me. Sean, you're going to be doing this for 3-4 months nearly. That didn't scare me either. But when I was at the beginning of April, and I thought, I'm going to be doing, so which is my birthday. And my wife's birthday is the beginning of August. And I'm like, I'm going to be doing this from pretty much just after my birthday till just before Caroline's birthday. That weirdly.
And you can probably think back on previous years.
You live whole lives between our birthdays. You know, it's just mad. I'm like, I'm going to be doing this because in my head it was, if I'd started on the 1st of April, I would have finished at the beginning of July. So I would have written off July in my head. It's about April, May, June, 3 months. Whatever. But because it was almost the whole of April and almost the whole of July, suddenly it was closer to 4 months in my head. I'm like, I'm doing this all the way till this kid's summer holidays. Like that was the only thing. Like the number 105 didn't scare me. Well, it was 102 I needed to go for the record.
Yeah, for the record, yeah.
And the months didn't scare me, but yeah.
What did you have swim caps made up until?
123.
123.
Yeah.
Just because 1, 2, 3?
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I wanted to have them up to, so the original plan, which I still think someone needs to do, is I wanted to do 140.6.
Yep.
Yeah. And not tell anyone. And end halfway through the bike.
I thought that'd be the case. Yeah. Imagine how good it'd feel just chucking the bike off to the side.
I've done 140.6 of 140.6, but
and what's Jonas's record now?
120. Yeah.
So 140.6 is the next threshold, really, isn't
cool,
it?
Yeah.
And then 150, then 200. Anything between 150 and 200 is kind of.
Yeah, you might as well go up.
Yeah.
So the reason I didn't do that, it was £5 to print caps, each cap. And I was like, wow, why am I printing another 40 at £5 a go for nothing? Because I'm never going that far. Like I had no business in my head trying to make the record unbeatable for someone. That doesn't interest me. And once you got the record, you got the record. It was also, quite difficult to even justify doing those extra 3.
Yeah.
Being a dad and a husband and my kids. Like the last couple of weeks, my eldest, he was really starting to feel the strain of just me being away.
Did it make your mission harder? I mean, over that distance of time, I can imagine it gets blurry anyway, but basing it off the original idea of doing it in different parts of the UK, was it easier having the family nearby or harder knowing that essentially that gave you the extra incentive to go, you know what, fuck this, I'd just rather spend time with my family?
Yeah, no, it was definitely easier having them because they could come and join me. When I got a bit faster, I would have like half an hour with them before bed.
Okay.
And I got loads of energy from that. And then they would come and run with me and cycle. They'd bring their bikes. Caroline would bring them down to on the run course. Every now and then because I had that middle stop on the bike, which I'd go through pretty much 6 times. They would sometimes wait there for me and I'd get to see them during the bike course and then on the run course. And yeah, I got a lot of energy from that. But there were times when it was tough, like especially if Caroline was ill, for example. Now she's solo parenting with the flu and the kids, they weren't at school yet. So, and she's self-employed. So Caroline's, not only is she working, like she has a job, she's solo parenting. Now she's ill and the kids aren't at school. So, I mean, luckily we have grandparents near us. So that was amazing. So they helped a lot. But there were times where I could just see it in her eyes. Like she was super supportive. Like, oh, carry on, you're doing so well. But like, you just tell like she's putting on a brave face.
How much of an impact did that have on you on those days where you spotted
it was tough. Yeah, it was massively tough. Of course it is. Like, and we all knew it. Like, as in me, the crew, everyone that came and joined. There was a unanimous decision that Caroline was having a rougher time than me. Just because life was hard. Like life was busy and logistics. So for me, every day I carried on was just an ego thing. And every day I carried on, I'm putting more pressure on Caroline and the kids, who, again, my eldest, he was starting to sort of say, oh, Daddy, when's your challenge finished? So the challenge was exciting for him because I'd pre-planned this where I'd done a thing with his school. So although he wasn't in reception, sorry, he wasn't in year 1 yet, he was in reception. I asked the school if they would send me messages every week and I'd video them and then they would play it as assembly.
Nice.
So, and everyone was like, oh, Monty, that's your dad. He's doing this cool thing. So he knew that the thing I was doing was important. So he didn't sort of hate me for it, like just being away. But that ran its course.
Yes, like for 40 weeks or something.
Exactly, yeah. So by the time, it was the last 2 or 3 weeks where he just started to go like, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. Like, Daddy, come home. Right. So yeah, that was that was started to get a little bit tough towards the end. And then even on the 105 day when it was time to quit, he was like, are you finished with your challenge? So can you play with me now? And I was like, oh God, I just burst out crying. So that was one of the harder things to deal with.
I can imagine. It's that weird dichotomy between having them available is reminding you of the challenge of it, but also a very useful crutch along the way.
They were still just a bit too young. I think. Yeah. Had they been, so my youngest is 4 now. When he's like 7 or 8, then I think then it shifts the other way. I think, I put a thing, it's weird. I put a thing on social media about, everyone thinks, it's impossible to train for an Ironman. And I literally broke down someone's 24 hours, the average person with a busy life. I was like, right, so you wake up at this time, you start work at this time, maybe you've got a commute, call it an hour commute each side, but you probably have a lunch break and then you get home and you get home at 6 or 7, but what time do you go to bed? 10, right? You still got those 3 hours. And then, man, I got so many people going like, oh yeah, but that evening I'd rather be a present parent, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, fair enough. And I had to say, and I'm very, very adamant about this, your kids, once they're old enough to understand, right? So again, for mine, I think 6 or 7, will get way more from you showing them that you have this difficult challenge. You're going to work really hard towards this difficult challenge. There's going to be sacrifices. And it's not going to be every night. You're not training from 6 till 10, 7 days a week. Like, no one's doing that. Even for an Ironman, you don't need to do that much, right? Your kids will get way more from those 2 or 3 nights a week where you don't play with them than they would do if you just sit and play Lego with them or whatever. Like, I think that is such an important message. So for anyone who thinks, I'm missing out on family time, I think there's a way you can structure your diary where you still have some family time, but equally you are showing your kids that it's worth training for something very difficult where you're only going to see the reward in 12 months' time or 9 months' time. And then if you do that well, if you are a good teacher to your kids in that way, they will get way more from that than you going, well, I'm not going to do it so I can be home with my kids and sit and play Lego or whatever. And I think that changes people's perception.
I think the layer beneath that as well is, and again, I'm yet to experience this, but from dads that I've spoken to or mums that I've spoken to is, if there is an itch and there is a part of your personality that wants to train towards the hard thing, by repressing that, you will be distracted when trying to be present. And if you are not distracted, let's not even call it an itch. I feel like that actually trivializes it. It's an innate desire. It's a part of who you are. It's something that gives you fulfillment, gives you purpose. If you are sacrificing that valiantly, nobly, whatever you want to call it, for the sake of your family, you are not going to be getting the best out of yourself and therefore potentially being the best version of yourself for your family. So it's definitely a middle ground. It's not saying go full investment banker, taking a sabbatical for an Ironman,
100 hours a week,
ignore your kids and send them off to boarding school sort of situation, but more of a, what is the middle ground between you serving yourself as best as possible so that you can serve your family as best as possible, so that everybody is fulfilled and purposeful as they can be? Because if you're instilling a sense of fulfillment and purpose in your children, that can only have a positive downstream effect, in my very, very naive opinion.
No, it's not naive. You've interviewed lots of people and lots of dads and mums, so you're right. I think it's important to show your family, and that's your kids, that's your uncles, that's your aunts, that's your nieces, that's your nephews, that's everyone, that it's important to plan and execute and train for and work hard at doing a difficult thing. I think it's super important.
And delayed gratification is an ever more important message for kids now because of how readily available everything is in front of them at all times.
If I without getting political and stuff, but my dad did military service when in Zimbabwe. So he had to do military service. And that was 3 years of doing very difficult things.
Yeah.
And although, I don't think it's good that, why he had to do hard stuff, but it definitely taught him lessons in life because he had to do hard stuff. And I think if I ever became the king of Ridamuen, which is the village I live in, I would make doing hard things mandatory. Everyone in the village be like, whatever's hard for you, what's your hard? You go and do it.
Yeah. Hopefully this isn't political, but essentially my new opinion is a hill that I will die on, especially in current economic climate, in the economic climate that we're currently in. I believe that conscription should be a thing in the hospitality sector. Whereby once you hit 18 years old, from 18 to 19, everybody has to do a year in hospitality so that they can understand how difficult it is, how fast-paced it is, the nuances of the challenge of why things cost how much they do in the hospitality sector, how challenging it is to survive and provide it as a service. Because I don't think anything has given me more formative understanding of hard work, social interaction, when somebody's too drunk to interact with, what somebody's tone is actually saying, what different parts of the world on different sort of experiences on a weekend are getting from that experience and how you can learn and interact from it. And I think it's really, really valuable. And especially how difficult it is for hospitality businesses to survive now. I think the amount of gain that can come from 1 year in hospitality.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of skills there. Yeah, it's
and calling it conscription is a little bit is a little bit aggressive, but I think given it's quite topical, I think mandatory hospitality service would be very valuable for a lot of people because, biased, it was very valuable for me.
Yeah, it's better than my first proper job, which was in a salad making factory in Cambridgeshire.
Salad making factory. Is there not an overarching name for that? A saladery or something?
Saladery, I don't know. But you know the pre-mixed salads you buy in the bags? Yeah. I was on the lettuce line.
You were the mixer.
I was. No, the machine does the mixing. I just cut all the bad leaves off and the hard bit in the middle. 12,000 lettuces a day I worked out. I was cutting.
But again, look, I mean, we can really get quite meta here and say that by tolerating that gave you a better tolerance of a figure of 8 loop.
Although that was that was a cushy job because then one day I remember the manager came round and he was like, we need someone for field work. And I'm indoors. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know what? Like, no one put their hand up. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a monkey. I was like, I'll do it. Went outside, freaking hailing, snowing. I was like, oh, well, this is exciting. I'm African. This is new to me. Anyway, we jumped in the guy's Land Rover and we went out to this field. And then there was a tractor there with like pulling something. I don't know what it was. He's like, oh, we're planting seeds now. I'm like, it's freaking February. Okay, whatever. I don't know what you're planting in February, but whatever. This is cool. And I'm thinking, oh, I could ride in a tractor. I've never done that before. He's like, no, mate. No, you're walking behind the tractor. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. It's so clogged up so you've got this planter thing, which has loads of rollers so that it buries the seed. And then there's a roller that rolls the soil over it. But the roller has to roll. If it gets clogged up with mud, it just drags and makes another furrow. And he's like, your job is to walk behind with a stick and prod all the rollers that aren't rolling. And that was my job. Literally, I did it for like 8 hours, walking behind a tractor up and down this field with this just a normal stick from a tree. They didn't even have like a purpose one. Just like fucking, and it was hailing and snowing. I'm like, I don't have gloves or anything because I'm from Africa. I'm like, what? He gave me like some gardening gloves and I was like, I don't know. But then again, I was like, this is cool. This is like an adventure. I didn't do it again, but like I did it once.
No, one and done.
Then I was like, give me the refrigerator cutting 12,000 lettuces a day. But it was, I learned some skills, resilient skills, but I think you're right.
No, I think, it's just business rates increase and everything. It's got me thinking. And when you see people, I think on a pint of Guinness in some establishments, if they're selling it for £6, they'll make 14 pence. Yeah. When you actually understand the economics of it, I love the hospitality sector, and I think it's very, very difficult to survive. So I had this conversation with someone recently. I thought, you know what? I think everybody would benefit from doing 1 year minimum because it is very, very formative. It teaches you to, if you're not used to interacting with people, it's a really good way to see all sides of all people very quickly. Which I think has pros and cons. But we are going to talk about the 105 in more detail in a YouTube video that we're about to film on a run. So I think just to round out this podcast before we direct people to said YouTube video, is there a day that sticks with you the most before the blurriness started? For whatever reason.
During 105?
Yeah.
Before the blur. Well, it's weird because the blurriness happened in the first 10 days. As I said, the first 10 days are the worst. So you're in for a treat. But I think it's important you know that.
I think so too, yes.
That first week was still shit. I might not do this. It's especially on the second attempt. The first, I remember I had a failed attempt at this.
It was day 6, so it was
day
a crash,
7,
wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, day 5 was the crash, and I slogged on for another 2 days, which I shouldn't have done.
Okay.
I should have bailed, and I knew it, but I thought, you've got crew and sponsors and whatever, and I'm just tenacious. I'm like, I can do this, I can get over it, but I timed out. So black and white, you're out. So even on that one, I was like, I've got this. Like, my head's strong. And then on the second attempt, when I got that injury and then was nearly timed out on day 2, that was the hardest bit. That was the hardest couple of days. Those sort of, and again, in my head, I was like, I should be back at 13 hours tomorrow, and 14 hours at least, but I was like 17 hours. And I was like, no, just chill. Just be 5 minutes quicker. Just be 5 minutes quicker. You can do that. And I was doing everything to find those 5 minutes. So in those couple of days, I didn't even shower. I literally came home and went straight to bed. So got stripped naked because I had like night sweats. My average sleeping heart rate was 89 for that first week. Sleeping heart rate. It's now like
oh god,
39 or something. So yeah, so I was just fully finding any 5 minutes here I could do. So went straight to bed. And then that was the mentality, just like claw back. So it was that first week to 10 days were definitely, big doubt, because I went into the second attempt so much more conditioned, yet still.
Well, that's the flip side, isn't it? Is it when you feel so much more prepared and you're still dealt with these curveballs, you get this kind of slingshot effect of you doubt what you had confidence in, and you're experiencing the shitty thing where it's almost better to be less prepared.
And then also because no one else had done it. Like, so there was no, and because the guy who had the record, James Lawrence, he famously said, and you can listen on his podcast, said he was going to take the record to the grave.
Yeah.
No one else is capable of doing it. And all the data suggested that, because no one else had attempted to break his record in the world. He still might, I don't think he's number 1, but I think he's up there with someone who's done the most full distances.
Yeah.
Like, he's done well over 200. I think there's one other person who's done like 250. Jonas has done 130. I've done 116.
Okay.
So, if you looked at all the data and you've got it coming out of his mouth going, I'm going to take this record to the grave because no one else in the world has the experience I have.
Yeah.
Sort of true. Like, no one did. So for me to come along and even be bold enough to think I could do it, never having done one, and then getting injured the first time, and then getting injured the second time, suddenly I'm like, shit, maybe I can't. Like, maybe I do need to have done 100 before I even start this. Not in a row, but maybe I have. So there was a lot of those. So that first week, and then once I got over it, and then once I stopped my daily physio, in favor of sleep, then those middle 30 were like the best. Not the best, but like my times were good.
I think if there's a real lesson from today, it's day 2, you thought everything was falling apart, and day 105, it hadn't.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice lesson in resilience and continually showing up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what degrees have we finished on?
9.
9, so it's gone up 1 degree. I am shivering and desperate for the bathroom, so I will say thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, mate.
Enjoyed that, and we're going to go and talk about Sean's experience with Iron 105 and what I can learn from it in more details in the Pentlands.
Yeah, let's do it.